Did you know that businesses lose up to 80% of their potential customers due to missed or mishandled phone calls? Imagine if you could have an intelligent assistant that never misses a call, provides consistent customer service, and frees up your time to focus on business growth. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can build an AI voice bot that revolutionizes how you handle calls in your business, making your customer interactions seamless and efficient. Stay tuned because this could be the game changer your business so needs. I've built one for a home services business, and here's the demo.
Welcome to Mr. Lawnmowers. How can we help you today?
Hi, I'd love to get a quote.
Great. Could I please get your first and last name?
My name is John Smith.
Thanks, John. Will this be for a home or commercial facility?
It's for my home.
Perfect. What is the home address where you would like the lawn mowing service?
I live at 123 Main Street.
Great. Just to confirm, that's 123 Main Street, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, yeah.
Awesome. We will need to assess the property for an accurate quote. What time and day works best for you for an in-person appointment?
Kindly let's do tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Awesome. Let me book you in for an appointment. Your appointment has been successfully booked. Thank you, John.
Awesome. Is there anything else?
No, that's all for now. Thank you for choosing Mr. Lawnmowers. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Awesome. Now let's check whether that's been booked in my calendar. Here we have my calendar up. So tomorrow is on 17th December. And that's, you see, appointment John Smith at 11 a.m. has just been booked. And if I enter my email, I should see an email that's just entered. You see here, an email just entered, new client appointment. If I click on it, you're able to see here, dear Mr. Mutiso, there's a new appointment booking. The details are as follows: the customer name, the service type, and the appointment time, which is 11 a.m. Tomorrow. And if I go to Airtable, so I'm storing also these details into a database, that is Airtable database. I should see that record in. There you have it. So you can see John Smith there. The service type is for a home. So it can either be for a home or a commercial property. So that's a home. The address is there and the appointment time is, let's see, tomorrow, 17th December at 11 a.m. Yeah, so that's working. So your question you're asking is, how do you get into building one yourself? Let me show you. So we're building the voice bot on a platform called Vapi.ai as well as Make.com. So we use those two platforms. Vapi to build the voice bot, then Make.com to build the functionalities. So if you don't have an account for Vapi, just search Vapi.ai, click on create an account. So I'm sure here you'll see create account. I've already logged in so I can access my dashboard, but go ahead and create your account, then log into your dashboard. So once you arrive at your dashboard, you'll see something like this. Since it will be your first time creating voice bots on Vapi, yours will be empty here, so you won't have all these analytics and overviews. But where we create the assistant, that is the AI voice bot, click on assistant over here, okay? Then here's where you'll handle all the development, okay? So for us to be on the same page, I think I need to make things clear. To build a voice bot is quite easy. You need three things, okay? You need a system prompt, tools, and a knowledge base, okay? So it sounds fancy, but let me break it down. A system prompt is just English instructions telling the AI its role, the kind of behavior we expect from it, the kind of tasks it's going to be handling. Just English instructions like your role is your customer support team for this. Your tasks is to handle this, this, and that. When the user says this, say this. Like it's just English instructions, okay? Then the knowledge base is just the business data that powers the voice bot. So for example, if the voice bot is handling customer support, the business's FAQs document would serve as the knowledge base. So like a PDF document containing the question and the respective answer. Question and respective answer. That's an example of the knowledge base data, okay? Then tools is like the functionalities the voice bot will handle live during the call. So for example, it could be handling M-Pesa payments or handling payments. It could be saving the customer's details to a database. it could be sending the customer an email or even sending our team an email. These are functionalities the voice bot can handle live during the call. So those are 3 things. So for the first 2 parts, we'll do that on Vapi. Then the last part, which is like the functionalities, we use make.com. So on your side, you'll go ahead and click on create assistant. Okay, give your assistant a name. It could be whatever. So but in this case, we're building one for a home services business. These are businesses that handle things like lawn mowing or cleaning your windows or cleaning your house, just home services. Okay, so I'll give mine a name of home services. Okay, so you can start with a blank template, or you could use the presets that are already here. So you can, if your voice bot is handling appointment setting, you can start with this. You can start with customer support, whatever, but I'll start with a blank template. So click create assistant. So now you'll arrive at this. So this is where the meat of your actual voice bot is going to happen. So you'll start by giving it a first message. Like when the customer calls, this is the first message the AI should say. So, hey, welcome to Mr. Lawn Mowers. How can we help you today? Then here in the system prompt is the actual instructions. So to simplify the process, I'll just paste in the prompt I used for the initial build. Then I'll explain what the prompt actually does. Okay? So here you have it. So we give it a role, some task, specifics in regard to the task, give it some context in regard to our business, then some examples of how an actual conversation could go with a customer. Okay, so I could actually give you a quick skeleton of how you can be structuring your prompt. So anywhere you see hashtag role or hashtag task, this is like representing the structure of your prompt. So if I was to delete everything here and just remain with the skeleton itself, I'd remain with something like this. So you'll have the role, the task the AI should handle, specifics in regard to the task, context, so for example, the business, what it handles and the likes, examples of how an actual client conversation could go back and forth with the AI, then some notes. Okay, so notes is when you test the voice bot consistently, here's where you'll come to put in instructions on where you saw it handled the conversation wrongly and how it should correct it. So when you consistently test the voice bot, you'll notice that here it messed it up, here it didn't respond appropriately. So here's where you'll come and put in your notes on instructions on where it should do better. And this part will actually get fuller and fuller the more you test the voice bot, because you'll realize the voice bot right off the gate won't be perfect 100% of the time. So when you continue testing it, assuming different personas, let's say this time I call assuming I'm an old lady, then this time I call assuming I'm a guy who's working at an office, like different possible client conversations could result in different mistakes from the AI. So here's where you fill up the notes on where it should improve. Okay, so this is the structure of the prompt, but let me paste in the prompt again. So you see here the role is you are Jane, an experienced salesperson for lawn mowing services. You are friendly and enthusiastic and find joy in helping customers find the right services. The task is, your task is to talk with the customer to find out which of the services we provide they are best suited for. Then setting up an appointment for our team to determine an accurate quote from assessing the property. So specifics in regard to the task are this. You will greet the user and try to capture their first and last name. You will then qualify the user between 2 different services, either commercial lawn mowing or home lawn mowing. Once you qualify them, you will ask for the address. You will then capture the date and time they would like an in-person appointment where one of us will visit to assess the property to come up with a quote. So these are specifics on the task at hand. Then we give it context in regard to what our business does. So the business is Mr. Lawn Mowers that has been around since the year 2015. We have won several awards on being the best lawn mowers in Kenya and really value our customers. Then here we could go even further in regard to the details of the service we provide, but right now just the business itself will suffice. Then we give it an example of how a client conversation would go. So I give it 2 examples. One is for a guy who wants lawn mowing services for their home. Then another one is for a guy who wants lawn mowing but for a commercial property, something like a factory or a school or whatever. So in each case, it will follow different paths depending on that. So let's start with the home lawn mowing. So this is how the script will be structured. We start with, hey, welcome to Mr. Lawnmowers. The customer says, hi, I'd like to get a quote, something of the sort. You can pause and read through the example, but the main part I want to focus on is down here, is once you have collected all the details, the customer's name, their home address, and all the required details, we run the booking function. So there's a function that's able to handle booking in the appointment and saving the details to the database. Okay, and I'll get into that just in a few, but don't worry, right now we're just on the prompt. So down here we have example for a commercial property. It's similar to the above example for an actual home, but the difference is when it reaches the part for asking the address, it will ask for the address of the property, then it will say perfect, just to confirm. Okay, it confirms the address. Then down here it will say we will need to make a visual assessment of the property. That will be $500. So this is the only difference between the two scripts. Is for a commercial property we charge $500 to come in for the appointment. For our home it's free, okay, just to do assessment of how the property is, how big it is, so that you can come up with a quote. So that's the example. Then after getting all those details, we run the booking function. So in both cases you can see we tell the AI run the booking function to book in the appointment. Okay, then down here is we give it notes. So when I was testing it out, I would notice maybe here it gets it wrong, here it doesn't handle the function calling appropriately, so I just give it some cautioning. Okay, so you can pause and read through that. So that's a system prompt. And by the way, you will come to notice that when you're building your AI voice bot, like 80% of the time, 90% of the time, you're going to be working with the system prompt. So once you build the functionalities, that is the tools of the voice bot, and you've given it data for the knowledge base, you're going to be spending 80-90% of your time just tweaking the system prompt, just English instructions. You test the voice bot this time, you notice here it got it wrong, you go back to the system prompt, tell it here you messed it up, kindly do this and that. Then you test it again, you find it had fixed the problem, but now there's a new problem. Then you go back to your system prompt, tweak it more. So you'll notice most of your time will be spent on the system prompt, and that's the best part. You're not coding, you're just tweaking it based on English instructions. That's awesome. So once you have the prompt ready, you want to give the AI an LLM. This is the AI model that will power the voice bot. Think of the AI model like the brain that is thinking through what response to give the customer. So for this, come here and pick the provider. I suggest going with OpenAI. There are several providers, OpenAI, Grok, Anthropic. Those are very good. Google also, but go with OpenAI. They have the best. Then in the model, you can go with GPT-4o cluster, which is normally the best for AI voice bots. I'd advise for that. But right now, I'll just go with GPT 3.5 Turbo. That's the job for now. But when I deploy this, I would have it as GPT-4o cluster. Okay. Then here in the temperature, you want to bring it down as low as possible. You don't want it to be so creative. So what temperature is how creative do you want the AI to be? If you want it to follow a script and you don't want it to gear off, you want to set the temperature as low as possible. If you're having some creative writing that you want the AI to handle, then you want to increase the temperature so that it can be creative in regard to the responses it gives back. So in this case, I'll just have it as low as possible. Let's say 0.3 works. Max tokens, leave it at default. Then here, detecting emotions, just leave that for now, okay? But what this does is simple. It just enables the AI to detect the emotion in the user's response. If they're shouting, means they are angry. So we need the AI to know that the customer is angry. So if you turn this on, when the customer shouts, it will be able to tell that the customer is shouting, they are angry. So this detail of the customer is angry will be fed to the AI model as context, so that when it's giving back a response to the user, it takes into consideration that the customer is angry. Okay, so you can have that in place. For now, I'll just leave it off. So before we continue, I'd love to break it down in regard to how an actual AI voice bot works underneath the system. Okay, so customer A calls the phone number they want to talk with the AI voice bot. When they talk to the voice bot, they will talk audio. So what will come out is audio. Okay, but an AI voice bot doesn't understand audio, so that has to be converted into text. So if customer speaks, whatever I'm speaking right now will be passed to what we call a transcribing model. Transcribing model just takes the audio, converts it into text. Now once we have the text, we need to feed this text to the AI model for it to think through the kind of response to give back. So we will have an AI model like GPT-4o cluster. We feed the text from the customer to the AI. The AI has instructions on how to behave. It has the data on the business, all that. It will take all that into consideration, come up with a response that is in text. Okay? The response in text has to be said back to the user. So what do? It will be fed into a text-to-speech model. The text-to-speech model converts the text into audio. Then the audio will be spoken back to the user. So that's how in a nutshell an AI voice bot works. The customer speaks audio. The audio is converted into text. The text is fed to the AI model. The AI model thinks through it, comes up with a response, but the response is in text. So the text will be fed into a text-to-speech model, converted into audio so that it can be spoken back to the user. So for the part of speaking back to the user, we need to have a voice provider. So in this case, Vapi doesn't handle the actual voice part. We have providers who are voice providers that handle this. The best is 11 Labs, and I think I'll touch in regard to this when we move on, but that's how in a nutshell a voice bot works. Okay, so once we are done with here, click publish so that we can save the changes. So before we move on to the transcriber over here, let's explain in regard to what is happening over here. So you're seeing this section that looks confusing, but what this does is just breaks it down in regard to the actual cost of running the AI voice bot. So how Vapi handles their usage costs is it will first charge a fixed cost per minute of call. So you can see it's $0.05 per minute of call. So that is Vapi's usage cost. You'll notice they don't have a subscription, so this is the fee they have to run their company. Then here we have the model, which is GPT 3.5 Turbo, which will cost $0.01. Okay. Then here we have Cartesia, which is the voice provider. Okay. So in simple terms, the total usage cost, you'll notice here it's $0.08 per minute. It's an estimated cost, average. Okay. So there are times it will be higher, sometimes it will be lower, mostly lower, but this is just an average. Okay. Then it breaks it down to say that in this $0.08, of that $0.08, 0.05 is for Vapi, 0.01 is going to OpenAI, that is for the AI model. Then 0.022 is going to the voice provider, which is Cartesia, and we'll go into the voice providers. Then here on the latency is how fast is the AI to give a response to the customer. So depending on the AI model you pick, some AI models are much faster to think through the response that it should give the customer, but some are much slower. Okay, so depending on that, the latency will change. If I go down here and change the model, so right now we're at GPT-4o, and you can notice the latency is at 800 milliseconds. But if I change this to something like GPT 3.5 Turbo, you can notice it goes down to 600 milliseconds. So you can play around with that to reduce or increase the latency. Okay, then let's go to the transcriber over here. So for the transcriber, I normally leave it at default, but it's just simply like the speech to text model. Like we have the speech from the customer, we need to convert it to text. So this is the model that handles that. Okay, so for this, you won't touch much on that. Let's go to the voice. Okay, so for voice, you'll notice there's a provider and the actual voice that you're using. So the provider is the company that created the voice. It can be Cartesia, it can be 11 Labs, Play HT. So the ones I normally advise mostly is Cartesia, 11 Labs, Play HT, and yeah, those three are the best for voice providers. The best completely is actually 11 Labs. It's the most expensive, but it's the cost of having very human-like voices. So you'll notice maybe the voice I used for the demo to sounding a bit like an AI. If you're very keen, you could notice it's an AI. But the best part is you can use 11 Labs to have more realistic sounding voices that are human-like. It's a bit more expensive, so notice now the cost has gone up to $0.11. If I change back to a provider like Cartesia, notice it goes down to 0.09. So depending on the voice provider, the cost also changes. Okay, then let's go to functions. This is like one of the most critical parts. So here's where you'll integrate the functionalities of the voice bot. We call them tools, and in this case we are building the tool with make.com, and what the tool does is just saving the customer details, that is their name, their address, all that, into Airtable database, and also sending an email to our team telling them that there is a new appointment. and also saving the appointment into Google Calendar. So that is the tool that will handle that. It's only going to be one tool that will handle that, but the tool will handle those 3 functionalities, and will handle all that using make.com. So for this, click on select tools here, then create a new tool. I've already created a tool called booking, but I'll create a new one for your case. So go ahead and click create new tool, then new tool over here. In this case, we can use custom tool or make.com or go high level. So we are using make.com to be able to handle this booking. But what I advise is don't click on this one, click on custom tool. Why is this? Is when you're dealing with different customers or different clients, some may be using make.com to handle their functionalities. Some may be using the competitor, which is Zapier, if you've heard of Zapier. And some may be using N8N, which is another very good automation platform. So if you initially just went with make.com, which is a custom integration already built into Vapi, when you want to switch and now use Zapier, it will be a whole different story. Like you'd have to go and reconfigure your things and all that. Is going to be a tiresome process. But for you to make it easy for yourself, just go with custom tool. The process is kind of like similar if you just clicked on make, but custom tool is foolproofing yourself in the future in case you want to use a different provider, not make.com. Okay, so I'll click on custom tool over here. Then what we need is a server URL. This is a URL that we will send data to so that we can kickstart the automation, or rather kickstart the functionality. So for this, we'll get it from make.com. So if you don't have a make.com account, go ahead and create one. Just search make.com, then create an account, log into your dashboard, then we'll get started. So once you arrive at your make.com dashboard, you want to click on create a new scenario. Then go ahead and import the blueprint that I provided, link in the description below, that will give you access to the entire template so that you don't start from scratch. Okay, so for that, down here click on more, then import blueprint. Okay, choose file, then you'll import the blueprint JSON that I've provided. So in this case, mine, I'll just go to the actual scenario, but in your case, just import the blueprint. It's a JSON file, then you're all set. I'll show you in regard to where you need to change the configurations for everything to work well for you. So here's the scenario. So first of all, you'll see it starts with a trigger module over here. So click on the trigger module over here. Then you want to click add to add a webhook. So this is the URL that you will paste into Vapi. So when you click add over here, it will give you just click save. Then it will give you a URL that you can copy. So copy address to clipboard, then go back to Vapi, then paste it in here. Okay. Then we can move on. Click on save, then click next. Then here's where you give the AI instructions on what data we need from the user so that we can kickstart this automation. So we will need, one thing is the customer name. Then we just give it instructions on what a name is. So something of the sort. This is the customer's first and last name. It's going to be a string, so it can be string, number, whatever. I'll pick string, then click save. Then you want to add another property. Give it a name. So in this case, it's going to be the service type. As you see, this is the type of service, can be either home or commercial. I'll leave it as string. Click on save. Add another property. Now this is the address, so I'll click address. Then this is just the property's address. It's a string. Click save. Then the final one is actually the time they want to book. So booking time. This is the time the customer wants the appointment. Then click save. So those are the details that we need before calling make.com. So I'll click next. So give your tool a name, so something like booking, and whatever name you use here is what you will use within your system prompt to tell the AI, when this happens, call the booking tool to handle booking the call. Okay. So here in the description, just tell you this is so this tool handles booking the customer in for an appointment. It's that simple. You don't want to fill it up with a lot of fluff. A simple instruction on what the tool does is able to suffice. So when you fill it up with a lot of fluff, you're going to confuse the AI, and sometimes it will be able to handle calling the tool appropriately. Sometimes it might not. So you want to be concise in regard to what the tool does. Don't fill it up with a lot of fluff. Click next. Then here is where you put in messages that the AI will use when it's calling the tool, during calling the tool, and after calling the tool. So start message, this is like message to show when the tool starts running. So something like awesome, let me book you in for an appointment. Then the delayed response is when the tool is taking long to book in the appointment. What message should the AI tell the user just to tell them that we are not lost, that we have not left the call, we're still working to book in the appointment. So something like, sorry for the delay, I'm working to finalize your booking. Then in case of success, leave this as blank. This is critical. Don't put any message here, because when you put in a message something like this, awesome, your appointment has been booked, it will assume every single time whether the appointment was booked or not, this is the message that will be said. But what we want is this message should be dynamic based on what happens when the function has been called. Okay, leave this as blank because this message will be rendered dynamically. Okay, then the error message is in case the tool failed to book the appointment, what message should it say? So I can say, sorry for the inconvenience, but I'm having trouble to book in your appointment. Okay, so that's simple. Then click create, and yeah, that's how you build your tool. Then how you connect it to your assistant is you go back to assistants. Then let me go to my home services assistant, go down to functions, then I want to select the tool. So in this case the tool is booking with a small b. Then yeah, that's it. In regard to here, enable end call function, yes, I want to enable end call function. This will allow the assistant to end the call from its side. So you don't want when the AI voice bot is speaking with the customer and the customer stays silent, the call just continues running and there's no speaking. So you want the AI to be able to end the call from its side. Then dial keypad, leave that as default. Forwarding number, leave that. Then here in the end call phrases, these are phrases when the AI says this, means it should end the call. So if it says something like goodbye or see you later or see you soon. So let's give it these examples, separating them with a comma. Something of the sort. So goodbye, bye-bye, see you soon, see ya. So when the AI says this, then the call should be ended. Okay, makes sense. Then with that in place, click on publish, because we have added a tool, we need to publish and save the changes. So that's in place. Let's go to advanced. But then you won't be spending a lot of time here in advanced. Leave all this at default for now. This is a basic tutorial, but you could be able to customize your voice bot as much as possible. Then here in the analysis, you're able to configure in regard to how you want to obtain your data analytics, like metrics on how the voice bot is performing. You'll give all those details over here. So I won't touch on this because this is a basic tutorial, but you could handle more on that. Okay, then to test your voice bot, just click on this button, talk with assistant, and yeah, you should be ready.
Welcome to Mr. Lawnmowers. How can we help you today?
Hi, I'm looking to get a quote.
Great. Could I please get your first and last name?
My name is John Smith.
Thanks, John. Will this be for a home or commercial facility?
It's for a home.
Great. What is the home address where you would like the service?
My home address is Nyayo Estate.
Perfect. Just to confirm, that's nested. Is that correct?
No, that is...
I'm sorry.
No. Can you hear me?
I apologize for the confusion. Could you please provide me with the correct home address?
My home address is Nyayo Estate.
Got it. We will need to assess the property for an accurate quote. What time and day works best for you for an in-person appointment?
Let's do next week on Monday.
Awesome. Let me book you in for an appointment. Sorry for the inconvenience, but I'm having trouble booking you in for the appointment. Kindly try again later.
So yeah, it's having trouble because we haven't connected the tool appropriately. So if I go back to make.com, we should be able to handle that. So here we already have the webhook URL in place. Just to explain further on what the scenario does, I'll just click on each module, show you where you need to change things, and you'll be set. So here I have an OpenAI step. What this does is it actually just extracts the date and time from the user conversation. So here you'll connect your OpenAI account. So for this, go ahead and just log into your OpenAI account if you don't have one. Go ahead and create an account. So openai.com, create your account, log in, then you'll arrive at your this. So this URL is where you'll get everything. platform.openai.com. Okay. So once you arrive here, what you want to do is click on settings over here. Then you want to go down to API keys. Then create a new secret key. Give it a name, whatever. Select a project. Select just the default project. Then create secret key. Copy this. Then go back to make.com. Then when you add a new connection over here, you'll paste in your API key here and your organization ID. All this you get from OpenAI. So when I go to OpenAI, I should get my organization ID over here. So general, then I'll copy my organization ID. That's it. Then that's how I connect to my OpenAI account. Then here, the method I want is to create a chat completion. Then all this, leave it at default. So for you on your side, this is the prompt that handles that. Then down here on the time zone, change this to your time zone. So in this case, I have it at Kenya, Nairobi, because that's where I'm at the moment. But on your side, you'll have it something like Australia, Sydney, or the likes. Okay. Then yeah, that's it. Then you'll click on OK. Then here we will check with Google Calendar. So go ahead and add your Google account connection. So to connect to your Google account, if you need help, just click on this online help. It's quite straightforward. Connect to your account, then you'll be set. So you'll just click and add here, show advanced settings. You'll need to add your client ID, client secret, all that from your Google Cloud platform. It's quite easy, so I won't touch on that. So here we want to check if the time slot is available for booking. So we want to check the minimum time and the maximum time that we're checking. So for example, from 10 to 10:30. And by default, we have our meetings at 30 minutes. So it will check for the minimum time is 10. So it will get that from the AI. So whatever the AI extracts as the chosen time the user wants, it could be 10 a.m., it could be 11 a.m. So you put that in place. Then down here in the maximum time, we're using a function called add minutes. And to get access to this function, when you just click on the input box over here, then go here to date. So this date, click on add minutes. So you can see the functions here, add minutes, add seconds, all that. So you're able to work with that. So then in the first parameter that it accepts is the actual time slot, then the number of minutes to add. Okay, so it can be 10, then we add 30 minutes. Therefore the maximum time is 10:30. So it's checking between 10 and 10:30. Then we pick the calendar ID. For this, it's just going to be from my Google account. Pick the default, then we can move on. Click on OK. Then it has three functions it's able to handle. First is booking in the appointment. Next is saving the record to Airtable. Then finally is sending an email. Okay, all this is quite straightforward. So for the Google Calendar, just come here. Then you have your account connection in place, the calendar ID. This is the Google Calendar to pick. Then the event name. So this is the title of the event. In this case, I'm just having it as appointment, then the name of the customer, something like appointment John Smith, appointment Mary Jane, whatever. Then in the start date, we have the actual date they want to book in. So this we get in from the previous step, which is from the AI. We have it in place. Then the duration is 30 minutes. So we have it at 00:30 because that's the duration of the meeting. And yeah, that's it. So click on OK. That's it. Then once it's saved the details appropriately, it should be able to tell the customer that the meeting has been booked. So that way we have a webhook response. So the webhook response gives back a status of 200, meaning that's been successfully booking the appointment. Then here's how you structure your response for Vapi to be able to send back this message, or rather verbalize this statement back to the user. So it's a JSON object containing the results, and the results is a list of results. Then the result is actually an object which contains the ID of the tool itself, which we get from the very first module, which gets the details from Vapi. So you're seeing this module over here. When I hover over it, you notice this starts to pulsate. So this shows that this ID or the tool call ID comes from this step. Okay, and you can notice the details that are coming back from Vapi. Here's how Vapi will send back the details from the tool call. So from the tool itself, you'll click on tool calls over here. Then the function will be here. Then the arguments of the function is what the AI gets back from the user. So you can see address, booking time, service type, all that. But the tool call ID is this one. So this is what we need. Okay, so that's in place. Then the result to send back is awesome, your appointment has been successfully booked. Then click on OK. Then for Airtable is quite simple. Go ahead and create an Airtable connection. For this, just click add. For Airtable, you just need an access token. It's quite simple. So if you don't have an Airtable account, create one. Then I'll go to my dashboard. Over here, I have my Airtable database. It's a simple base that has one table. It's called appointments, and it involves, the table has a customer name, service type, address, appointment date. It's that simple. To get my access token, I'll click on my profile, click on build a hub. So when I go to build a hub, I'll arrive at this. So what I want to do is create a new token. Okay, give your token a name, whatever it is, add a scope. So this scope is like what permissions is the application that accesses this database is allowed to do. Is it only allowed to read the records in the database, or is it also allowed to alter the record or create a new record? So these are the permissions you give. I normally like giving it all of the permissions, so that later on, if I need to use the same access token to perform a functionality, I am not limited. So just add all the scopes, then attach a base. So this is the database, which is Mr. Lawnmowers. Create a token, copy it, then go back to make.com. Then here in the connection type, click on Airtable token. Then you'll paste in your access token. So in this case, I've already added mine, so that's why it's failing. But on your side, you should be able to do that. Then here I'll pick the table the database that I want to work with, which is Mr. Lawnmowers. The appointment table is what I want to access. Okay. Then these are the records that we have. So customer name, service type, address, and the likes. So I fill them in appropriately. So for customer name, I'll click on that. Scroll down till where I go to tool calls. Go to function. Then here in the arguments is where we get all those details. So I'll click on John Smith, the customer name. So that's what I need. But notice it's adding all this necessary. I don't need all that. So let me just click on one. John Smith. Okay. Then I do the same thing for service type, address, and the appointment date, which we get back from the AI step that extracts the date and time. So that's in place. Then click on OK. So that's for the Airtable. Then for the email, it's simple. Add your Google connection, which I'm sure you must already be having. Then the two email address. This is the recipient email address. Subject is new client appointment. Content type is either HTML or plain text. I go with HTML so that I can insert these line breaks. It's normally an issue if you have it as plain text. Then here's the email. So that's a simple email with the customer name, service type, and all the details we're sending back. Okay, that's simple. Click OK. And yeah, that's how the make scenario is configured for it to work. Click on save. Then to test it out, we'll just click on run once over here. Wait for new data. So forget about this. I was doing some testing over here, so don't worry about that. But now it's waiting for new data. So when you go back to our assistant, we should be able to have this working. But just to confirm, let me check my Google Calendar to see what time is available. So let's go with 12 p.m. Then let me go back to Vapi. Talk with assistant.
Welcome to Mr. Lawnmowers. How can we help today?
Hi, I'm looking to get a quote.
Great. Could I please get your first and last name?
My name is John Smith.
Thanks, John. Will this be for a home or commercial facility?
It's for my home.
Great. What is your home address, John?
My home address is 12345 Main Street.
Perfect. Just to confirm, that's 12345 Main Street. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. We will need to assess the property for an accurate quote. What time and day works best for you?
Let's go with tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Awesome. Let me book you in for an appointment. Sure, we've booked you in for tomorrow at 12 p.m.
Awesome. Is there anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you for choosing Mr. Lawnmowers. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
There you go. And notice when it said goodbye, the call was ended immediately. So you can notice that our call ending phrase is working. Okay. Then going back here to make.com, you should be able to see that details have come in appropriately. So you can see here, this is what comes back from Vapi. Then the details are in the tool calls. So tool calls, we have in the function, it goes deeper and deeper, but here's the nitty gritties that we need. Okay, then everything is working appropriately. If I check Google Calendar, you should see a new appointment for 12 p.m. has entered. Then here in my email, I should see a new client appointment. So you can see a dear Mr. Mutiso, John Smith, and they want it at 12 p.m. That's working properly. Then if I go to my Airtable database, I should see that record. There you have it. So you can see all this. I should have been using different names, but anyways, John Smith is a nice name. Then there you have it. So you can see at 12 p.m. that has been booked. So yeah, that's it. That's how you're able to build an AI voice bot to automate your customer support. This means that whatever time the customer calls, whether it's in the day or whether it's at night or in the holidays, you're assured that exceptional customer support they will receive. So whether even 1,000 customers decide to call that one number right now, like right now as we speak, they're able to get an immediate response from the AI voice bot. So this just enhances your branding and all this. Like, your customers will really love you. So if you want such a system to be built for you, whether it's an AI voice bot, an AI chat bot, or something AI related or automation related, we do this at our company. So there'll be a link in the description to book in a meeting with our team. So just click in the link in the description. You'll visit our website and book in a meeting with us. Otherwise, if you want access to the templates and the resources we used here, link in the description. Anyways, till next time, stay servy. Peace.